Hello, I'm Rex Johnson with the Rex Johnson Podcast, and to all you podcasters out there in Podcastville, just a little creative thing that I say, it don't make any sense. I want to welcome you to our podcast today. We are in the first of the year, and it's going to be a fabulous year. 2025 promises to be a glorious, wonderful year. And who knows, we may even see the coming of Jesus Christ in 2025. But today, until he comes, we're going to keep carrying on business. And I've been senior pastor here at Christian Life Austin in Austin, Texas for the last 2 years. I was lead pastor for 33 years, and God has given us tremendous growth and tremendous blessings here in Austin, and we're so grateful for that. But today, I'm going to introduce one of the reasons that we are here and one of the reasons that this church is still in a growing posture. I'm introducing the eldest daughter of my life. Yeah, God gave me 3 daughters. This one I'm going to introduce today, and the one that was with you last month, and the one that was with you in November. All 3 of those girls have been catalysts for growth in this church because they all have helped their parents so gratefully and mightily. But today, I'll bring you the firstborn, or what I call her, the excellency of my might. I guess that's a biblical term. I don't know, but I want to introduce my Misty McNicholas. She was a Johnson before she was a McNicholas, but I don't bother me at all to call her Misty McNicholas because she's married to a wonderful husband. And I want you to welcome my oldest girl, Misty, today. Misty,
hello.
How you doing, baby girl?
I'm good. It's
I
great
love you.
To be here with you.
I love you to the moon and back. We've already gone to Mars, hadn't we?
We have. You said Mars.
Yeah,
Now.
my girls, their love goes to Mars and back. But I'm glad to have you, sweetheart.
Glad
it's an
to
honor.
be here.
It's an honor to have you. And should I go ahead and just blurt it out?
Let's do it.
All right. You
Why
turned
not?
50.
I turned 50.
You turned 50 back in November the 1st.
Yes.
You were born in 1974.
I sure was.
And you were the joy of your mom and me. Born in Abilene, Texas.
Abilene, Texas.
And the doctor that was there at your birth later lost his license because
he did.
he didn't know what he was doing. Thank God you got here and you made it.
Yes.
You're a survivor.
I am.
And so I welcome you today, and I thank you for being here. And it's an honor. It's an honor to interview you today because I wrote a book in 2002, published it in 2004, and you're the living survivor of the reason that I wrote that book, With a Palm and a Willow. And we'll talk about that at the end of the show today, at the end of this broadcast. But I just want you to kind of open up and kind of talk to us a little bit about how you arrived here. Let's just go through your story. Okay. Us living in Dallas and the situation that happened. We won't stay long on that because that's in our rearview mirror. But it still is the said banks of our life that keeps us in balance.
Absolutely.
Knowing that the Lord gives and he takes away. Mm-hmm. But I want you to share with us, with the podcast folks today about that day, that fateful day in Dallas when your mom and your brother were taken from us and we became best friends. And okay, go ahead and talk about it, babe.
Well, I have very clear memories of the actual day, March 13th, 1981.
That's right.
And I was 6 years old.
Yep.
And my dad was pastoring, you were pastoring in Dallas.
Yeah.
And
our first church.
Didn't
even know how to spell pastor.
No.
Yeah, that's right.
So my brother Justin was 4. My mom was 26, so she was a young mom. She had me when she was 20. And we were going shopping.
Yep.
It was a Friday,
Yeah.
and we were going to go shopping. I think we were picking up light fixtures for a bathroom remodel. And Daddy you were leaving to go preach.
Oklahoma.
In Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And so back then, car seats really weren't required. So I was 6 and I was sitting in the front seat.
Yeah.
Yes, we wore seatbelts, but it was a very different than
Not
it is
this
now.
kind, just this kind.
Yeah, absolutely. Across the lap.
Yeah.
And then Bubba, which I used to call him Bubba, but Justin was in the back seat.
Right.
And then, of course, Mom was driving.
Yeah.
And I just remembered us driving, and I was reading a book to my brother. I remember because he always wanted me to do something to entertain him. We didn't have iPads and videos in cars.
And games.
And games back in that day. So I was reading.
How did we make it?
I don't know.
I don't know.
We did, though. We made it. But I just remember reading him a book.
Yeah.
And then within an instant, it's such a vivid, clear memory. I just remember I couldn't breathe. I just remember it was just a heaviness, a 6-year-old, I was pretty bright 6-year-old. And I remember looking over to my left and seeing my mother. She was alive and she was like moving her body about, which later I think you have told me that maybe she was dodging glass that was from the impact. We don't really know. I just know that I have told you this, that she was not deceased. She was moving about. And I realized something was wrong. Mm-hmm. And within a split second, I looked back again and her eyes were closed. But she looked beautiful, like so beautiful. Never talked to my brother. I don't remember looking back or anything. I just remember seeing.
He was behind your mother.
Yes.
He was in that same
So he
side
would
of
have
the
been in
car.
my vision, but I just didn't turn around.
Yeah, yeah.
And I just remember she was asleep and I thought, I need to get help for my mom.
Yeah.
And so I rolled the window down very little and put my hand out and just started yelling for help. And I just remember men coming, going, we're going to get you. Mm-hmm. And they weren't able to get my seatbelt because at that time our car was on fire.
Yeah.
Found out that's why I couldn't breathe.
Yeah.
It all happened so quick, but I just remember going, they're like, we're going to get you out. When they pulled me out, my mom and dad, y'all had bought me new blue tennis shoes. And I remember these blue tennis shoes so vividly. And they were beautiful. They were blue and they had a white stripe on the side. And one of them came off when they pulled me out. Well, being 6 years old, I wanted my shoe.
Yeah.
I said, my shoe. And they said, we'll get it. So it was in front of a U-Haul facility that they took me to. And they said, we need to know how to get a hold of your daddy. And I said, okay, so my parents back then, we didn't have cell phones, so I had to memorize every phone number.
You did.
So I memorized a lady in our church named Aunt Dana. I had her number memorized. I had our church.
She wasn't your aunt. You just called her.
I just called her aunt.
We still do.
We still do. And I had our home phone memorized, and I had the church phone memorized. Mm-hmm. And so I gave them every phone number that I had in my little database, my little brain. And I want to say within about 15 minutes, you came.
Yeah, I was at the church.
But I think what's really unique about this story is you were already outside the church and you heard that phone ring. Mm-hmm. And there was I think you've told me there was like a check in your spirit. Mm-hmm. And little did you know we had been in this tragedy, but I remember when you got there, that's all that mattered.
Yeah.
I felt safe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they kept telling me, your mom's asleep. And I believed them because that's what I saw.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I kept asking for her, but they were like, she's sleeping. And I was okay with that whenever I saw you get there. And so one thing that I will say about that day, yes, it was a tragedy. Yes. But Daddy, you were just so present for me. And I think that it was really hard and I blocked a lot out, but I think God showed up big for us in that time. We had a lot of support and a lot of people behind us. And so honestly, I will have to be really honest. After that particular day, I don't have a lot of memory of...
I think that was the favor and the grace of God.
I believe that. I don't have a lot of memory
Would have overwhelmed you as a 6-year-old child.
Of the funeral. People tell me. And I have pictures.
Yeah.
And I have, memories of that day. There was a whole we were in the UPC at that time, and there was a whole write-up about the funeral.
Yeah.
And I have all of these memories in writing, and I think that's where I have those memories from, but not a physical memory. And I'm really thankful for that, to be quite honest. I think that was God's protection, because I do remember the tragedy, but I think after that, I just remember that I felt safe. Yeah, I may have had nightmares. You've told me I had nightmares. I had night terrors, but I don't remember those things. And I think that's okay. I think that's a beautiful thing.
And so what happened, we just became not only daddy and daughter, I became a hairdresser.
Yes, you did. But mind you, you did not do hair well.
No, I didn't. I was going to say that myself, but you already said it for me.
You didn't. He would put my hair in a ponytail, but it would have lumpies all over it. So I have to say, I love to do hair, but I think my love for doing hair came at a very young age, because I had to learn.
You had to learn
To do my hair.
You had to learn.
Because
I sure wasn't going to be your stylist.
I didn't want lumpies in my hair.
I didn't even have any myself.
But you had to learn how to cook.
Yeah.
And what was
taco salad?
That was our favorite. But what was on our taco salad? You always made queso.
I did.
And my middle sister, who y'all heard from last month, hates Velveeta queso.
She does.
But me and Daddy survived.
We survived on Velveeta
taco
queso.
salad and Velveeta queso.
And a little restaurant.
And Isabel's. I do remember this.
They had a meal every day, and we'd go about 4 or 5
But it
o'clock.
was home cooking.
It was home cooking.
It was chicken fried steak. It was all the good things.
Yeah.
We loved it.
Yeah. And we survived. And then
we did.
And then fast forward, God gave us.
Yes.
God gave you and me the most beautiful lady.
Oh, wow. Yes.
The most beautiful lady that, I mean, you couldn't orchestrate it. You couldn't ask God for anything better. You couldn't draw a picture of something that you'd like any better. And the character that she possessed and the hope that she gave to us.
Yes.
I'm speaking about Patti Johnson, who became my wife in February of the next year, and your mother.
Yes.
And she became all of that. She was 23 years old when we got married, and she had never been a mother, never been married, and she got you with this package. She got you. You was in the package.
Well, it was funny, Dad.
And she didn't walk away. She stood tall.
Well, she had said, on my birthday, she wrote me a beautiful letter.
She did.
For my 50th.
I cried.
And one thing she says was, I am so sorry that you got this 23-year-old who didn't know anything. And I wrote her and I said, Mom, what you didn't realize is you were everything I needed and more.
That's right.
I didn't see you as a 23-year-old who, I just saw you as
a rescue savior.
My mom.
Yeah.
And I think that, that for me, she probably felt inadequate, but she met every need that I had as a 6-year-old needing a mom.
Right.
So I think that's pretty ironic.
And it's just so neat that your relationship, even now, you're 50 years old, okay? Mm-hmm. Your mother
yes,
took you to Arizona, and y'all went to, what was that park?
Oh, we went to the Grand Canyon.
The Grand Canyon.
Yes.
Y'all went shopping.
We did.
Y'all had days at the sauna.
We did.
I mean, she just overdid it.
She overdid it.
But then you came home the next Sunday we had your birthday at the house, and she gave you some more gifts.
Gave me some more gifts.
Dear Lord.
Yep.
And my birthday.
That's what you call heat down, press down, overflow.
Shaken together. My birthday's in December, and I didn't get anything.
Well, you did get some stuff. You did get some stuff.
All right.
Spoiled.
So anyhow, I love the fact that it wasn't long. We were engaged.
Right.
But we were not married, and you walked up to her one day and you said, I want to call you
Mother.
Okay.
Well, we were actually, y'all had just gotten engaged.
Okay.
And if you remember, Dad, we had a above ground pool.
Yeah.
In our backyard in Dallas, and you were dating her at the time.
Yeah.
And you asked me, I do remember this. You asked me if I wanted a new mom.
Yeah.
And I immediately said yes.
Yeah.
And So
This
when
is
y'all
so sweet.
when
I
y'all
love
got
this.
engaged, what was really cool, we had gone shopping, and I don't know what we were shopping for, but I was with her.
She's probably trying to buy you something
She
because she's a
took
giver.
me, and we were in the dressing room, and she said, I just looked up at her and said, "Can I call you Mom?" And she looked down in her loving way and said, "You don't have to. You had a wonderful, beautiful mom. And you can call me whatever you want." And I said, "But I want to call you Mom." And I think what's really beautiful about that is I've always, growing up, I never wanted her to be known as my stepmother. It was a huge thing to me.
Mm-hmm.
I would tell her, "Please don't tell anyone. Just tell them I'm your daughter."
Yeah, yeah,
And I think that 50, it still resonates.
yeah.
I don't like to be known as not hers
Step, yeah.
because I'm hers in every way but birth.
That's exactly right.
I couldn't have handpicked a better mom, and I know I had a beautiful mother, but I think that I just don't ever want to take away what she's been for me.
It just shows the power of the love of God, that God made this happen.
Absolutely.
Just made this happen. It's the most beautiful story, because now when y'all go places, like in Nashville a couple of years ago, y'all went to Nashville on a little girls trip, and y'all was getting your picture made in the street, and a woman came up, took the camera, and said, "Oh, I see, mother, daughter, daughter, daughter." She said, "I knew that you were her daughter because you look just like her." She pointed at
to
you.
me. She wasn't real sure about Cassidy and Kaitlin, but she was positive me and her. And
And
me
it
and
happened-
Mom got so emotional.
Yeah.
Because it was like, wait a second.
And it happened again on your 50th
It
birthday
happened on my 50th
in Arizona.
birthday trip. It
Yeah,
sure did.
Yeah.
We know y'all are related.
Yeah, we know the two of y'all are related.
Y'all are
Yeah,
related.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It
That's
happens
amazing.
quite often.
That's amazing.
Yes, and I love it.
So we got along. God gave us sweet Patti.
Mm-hmm.
And we set into married life, and we stayed in Dallas for a few years. We're going to just move on from here.
Yes, absolutely.
And then I was elected to the youth position, and so we moved to St. Louis, daughter in tow.
Mm-hmm.
And there in St. Louis, God gave us Cassidy,
Yes,
and He gave us Kaitlin.
absolutely.
One born in '83, and the other born in '86.
Yeah.
And you became what you always have loved to be, a mother.
Yes.
You became a mother to those two
Absolutely.
little girls.
Yes.
And you became the surrogate mom.
Mm-hmm.
How old was you then?
Well, when
You-
Cassidy was born, I was 9. And when Kaitlin was born, I was 12.
That's right. That's
And
right.
so-
yeah. And you
I had a baby on my hip.
you
all
could
the
put them to
time.
sleep as well as anybody in the house.
Well,
You
back
had a
then,
baby on your hip when you was 9 years old.
Mom would leave him alone with me. She hates to admit it, but I was a very trustworthy kid.
Oh, you were, baby. You
And
were.
I took care of those girls. And then when I could drive,
yeah.
I would tote them around.
Yeah,
for
you
y'all.
would. You would. You would.
And then Mom would have to.
You
be
got your license at 13, didn't you? No.
Mom would have to be at church early with you when we got
Yep.
in Austin.
Yeah.
I drove the girls to church.
You did.
I did their hair.
You did.
But I loved it. I wanted
We
to.
went to the Ritter from St. Louis, and there you made some lifelong friends.
Absolutely.
Lifelong friends.
Yeah.
And there's a particular family that had a daughter that was, what, a year younger than you?
Shelley was 11 when we moved there,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
was 12.
Yeah.
And then her parents, Greg and Sue, are like still my second parents.
Well, yeah.
We
yeah.
just have such a great relationship.
And if they walked in right now, they'd just hug us down.
And well, we were there for such a short time.
Uh-huh.
So me and Shelley always say we came there just for us to meet.
That's it.
That's what we
3
did.
years. We was there 3
Because
years.
we were
yeah.
only there 3 years.
Yeah.
And she's been with me every major milestone. Greg and Sue come for my last son's wedding. They're
Yeah.
probably going to come from Connor's wedding.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
they always make sure to be here
Yeah,
for those
yeah,
big milestones.
Yeah,
So.
And they're loved. They are extended family. They are
Absolutely,
loved. And then we
absolutely.
came to Austin in 1990. We went to DeRitter kind of as a help
Right.
to get a church back on its feet from some situations. But when this church called, it didn't matter if they had less than 50 people. It didn't matter. It didn't matter. That was where I knew my life work was going to be. And we came when I was 40, and you was 15.
I was 15. Yeah.
And one of the people that helped move us here Oh, this is going to be difficult to talk about. One of the people that helped us move here was your husband-to-be.
The hot man.
Oh, dear Lord.
Yes, he was.
And I used to ask you, why do you like him? And you said, Daddy, he makes me laugh.
Yes.
And I said, oh, my God, that's a great reason to choose somebody you want to be with for the rest of your life.
Yes.
But God, you know, we kept you from seeing him till you was 18.
That's right.
But we didn't keep you, no, we keep you from dating him. But we didn't keep you from seeing him because y'all saw each other. He'd come by the school and bring you all kinds of
He'd
stuff
bring me
from
Taco Bell.
Yeah, because you love Taco Bueno.
I love Taco Bueno, Taco Bell.
Yeah, you love
any
it.
kind of beef burrito.
Yeah,
I was in.
Yeah,
That's
he was
right.
in.
That's right.
And so he became a wonderful son-in-law for me.
Yeah.
But I tell him all the time, he's an avid sports person. He's avid. He's a tremendous gifted man. I mean, he can hit a softball, and he can hit a baseball. He can hit a golf ball. He just gets out there. He took up golf when y'all got married.
He did.
Took up golf, and in a year he was a 5 handicap.
He sure
He
was.
took up golf when y'all got married, and in a year, from the tips, he was a 5 handicap.
Yep.
And people that understand golf understand that's pretty good. And so then y'all took up residence here, and I'm so glad because all three of my daughters and their husbands, their only husbands, are still a part of our family.
Yeah.
And when we have Sunday night get-togethers now, the furthest one away is 10 minutes, maybe.
That's about it.
About 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad Damon lived here. So glad Brad lived here, who's now the lead pastor with Cassidy. And Jaron, who married Kaitlin, didn't care for Mississippi.
Well, he lived in a one-horse town, if you will. So, yes.
You might need to cut that one-horse town. Surely it had 2 horses.
He was ready to come.
He was
to a
ready
big
to come,
city.
Austin, and Kaitlin
Yes.
was a good reason to come over here.
Absolutely.
So anyhow, we have such a wonderful, close-knit family. Everybody loves everybody. I can't remember us ever having a disagreement when our voices, we have different opinions.
Well, yeah.
But our voices have never been raised to one another. It's been a wonderful, blissful family unit.
Absolutely.
And I think, Misty, you may be the catalyst for that because God grafted you into this family and made you a part of it wholly, completely, fully. And your family that God gave you, that you inherited, have absolutely just stepped up to the plate. Even Patti's father, her mother, her brothers. You're Misty Mo. You're
Misty Mo.
Yeah, you are you're their best. They're the besties. And they would go to the end of the earth for you. And so God just somehow took a tragedy and made a beautiful lady who is now the office manager. You work for the church that I pastored, and I got to hire you.
Yes.
And it was the best day of your life. You say
sure
still
was.
this day.
Absolutely.
But there was a lot of best days in your life. But you're the girl I get to see when I first walk in. Your office is first, and I come in, I get a big hug every morning. And what a joy it is to have you as my daughter, and to have you and to say to you that, you never were a problem, baby. You never was a problem. You just walked in truth. You loved truth. John, the third epistle of John, he said, I'm overwhelmed by the fact that my children walk in truth, and I'm overwhelmed that my children walk in truth, and you're a blessed part of what this church has become and what it is. So let's talk a little bit now about your future.
Yeah.
You got a little future coming up here.
I do.
You have 2 sons.
I have 2 boys. Yeah.
Caden is 25. Connor's 21, and they were born one day apart, 4 years apart.
4 years apart, right.
And Caden was a little touch and go with his birth.
Yes.
It was a little touch and go.
Yes.
And then God just did him right. And then here came Connor. Here came Connor. And the joy of those 2 young men and the process that they have walked through to be examples and leaders in this church. It's just unreal. Why don't you just kind of talk about that a little bit in your own motherly way?
Well, I think that it's just as a parent, that's all you can hope for.
Yeah.
Like, you're speaking of me and my sisters serving this house and having our husbands in this house with us. And I think that's just the ultimate goal as a parent.
Right.
You just want to raise your children to be in his house, serving him.
Right.
And I think Damon and I as parents, that's all we really wanted. And I think with Caden, he married a beautiful girl in the church named Jessica, and they have been over our youth now.
For how long?
They've been married almost 4 years.
But about 4 years they've been over the youth? Yeah. Okay.
In April, they'll have been married 4 years.
Okay.
And just watching them has been beautiful, and just watching him flourish and come into his own has been such a wonderful thing to see.
He's a tremendous influencer.
He is.
Tremendous.
And he loves the Lord, and he loves this house. And so I think that was a real blessing. And then Connor, same thing. He's a leader.
He is.
Connor is if you know Connor, he's very strong personality.
Yeah.
He's not a follower. You're going to follow him. He's a leader. And so, and he'll be getting married in April and to a wonderful girl.
Yeah.
And so I think
both have beautiful wives.
They do. And my
Sweet
oldest son will be giving us a grandson in February. My first grandson.
My first great-grandson.
Your first great-grand.
Yeah, that means 5.
That is right.
I lost a little boy, and now I'm going to have 5 sons in my life.
That's it.
Grace.
Beautiful.
Grace is amazing.
And then in April, Connor will get married and bring me another new daughter-in-law, and we love her.
Oh, she's precious.
And then in June, Damon and I kind of tie a pretty bow on it because we'll have made it 30 years of marriage. And it's such a beautiful life that God's given out of tragedy.
Yeah.
I think you just have to look back and go, thanks. That's all you
Well,
can
in the
say,
fact that he gave you Damon.
Yeah, for sure.
I remember asking you one time, baby, what do you see in this guy?
Yeah.
And you said, Daddy, he makes me laugh.
And
I need that in my life. He makes me laugh. Well, you know what? He makes us all laugh.
he does.
Damon Patrick McNicholas is one of the funniest human beings.
He is.
He might have missed his calling in ball, but he really missed a calling in comedy.
And you have to know his personality, because if you don't know his personality, he likes to talk.
Now, he loves talking.
He loves to tell stories.
And he's a landscaper, and he takes Jesus in the landscape business with him. He's a soul winner. He's won some massive people in this church.
He has.
He's
knows
brought
a
them
lot
to
of people.
He knows people.
But yes, and I think out of tragedy, that's what we wanted. We always wanted laughter. And so I think that was the biggest thing that attracted me to him, is because he was so funny all the time.
All the time.
He was never down. It's very rare
He's got an
you
up
find
position.
him down.
Yeah.
And so it gave me a lot of reason to stay up.
And not only is he not down, he's always got an upward.
Always.
Always.
He
checks on me, and he always leaves me smiling or laughing with an upword. He gives
really
upwards.
Cares about people.
Yeah.
And so he's the best.
Just thinking about
me.
him just brings joy to my heart because he's the real deal.
He is.
I call him the real deal from Baskerville. I don't know what that means. But I call him that. But I'm also going to get a great grandson, and Patti is I don't want to tell her age, but she's not 70 yet.
No.
But the bottom line is she's so excited to get a great grandson also.
Y'all can enjoy it.
It's amazing.
Y'all still have young grandkids. So y'all going to have a great grandson just in the mix.
And the joy of it is that it just keeps going. Legacy just keeps going.
Love it.
Pastor Brad and Pastor Cassidy are just such wonderful leaders of the church now. You're a leader in the church, baby girl. Damon's a leader in the church. Damon not only, I hate to be talking just about Damon, but Damon not only is a funny man, a hard-working man, he makes good money,
yes,
but he also buys stuff for people.
Oh, yes.
He's
a giver.
Yeah, he'll buy stuff. One of the wealthy people that has come into this church, Damon buys for him.
He loves
because Damon dresses like that man's always wanted to dress.
Absolutely.
And he does it. He does it. And just sitting here talking about the one that God gave to you 30 years ago this June, lets me know that God saw where we were in 1981, and He said, I'm going to turn your mourning into gladness,
into laughter,
your sorrow
joy.
into joy.
Yeah,
I'm going to give you, the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness, and He's done that.
absolutely.
And baby girl, you are an expression of that kind of relationship, because you didn't sulk, you didn't pout, you didn't seek attention. You just said, I'm going to grow up with the joy of the Lord in my heart. And I thank you for that, baby. I really do thank you for that. Say something to the people. We got to get off this thing, because we've talked a long time.
You and Mother made it easy. Y'all made it easy. Y'all have been the greatest parents. And I'm just honored to be your daughter and have walked through what we walked through together.
Yeah.
And I think, the future is
we buddies, baby.
been
We
blessed,
buddies. Yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
So.
And I'm so proud of you. You're the image of your birth mother. Or you look like your birth mother, but you're the image of your mom,
Yeah,
Patti.
that's right.
And wow, you've got her traits. She has trained you well.
Wow.
And I'm just a very privileged dad and grandfather and almost great grandfather to have had Patti come into my life and into our life, because God knew what He was doing.
Absolutely.
Check. Now, I want to say this about the book. Misty is the girl in this book. This is called With a Palm and a Willow. It's reflections on a journey from grief to grace. And you can reach this book. It's not on Amazon. We're still contemplating doing that. But our church phone number is 512-892-4200. With a Palm and a Willow is a story of this tragedy and how God took us through it and brought us out victorious on the other side. And if you've lost a job, you've lost your health, you've lost a relationship, anything that has brought loss to your life, this book, I promise you, will turn your life around. So God bless you, and God bless and keep you. We'll see you next month. Thanks for tuning in today, and thanks, Misty, for giving us such a wonderful side that you gave us. Keep smiling, hon, because you got joy in your life.
Love you.
God bless you.